Welcome everyone. I'm Lisa Harrison, and today I am talking with Miss Mugzzi, the one-of-a-kind psychic medium. Morning, Mugzzi. Although it's not morning for you, is it?
No, it's not. It's after 3, but good morning to you, Lisa.
Thank you. Now, I just wanted to a little bit about your background. You've been working online as a psychic for 9 or 10 years.
No, 13 plus.
13 plus. Wow.
And I've had a different background from most psychics because what happened to me is I'm a medium, and I have been since I was 9 years old. But to me, it wasn't any different than, talking to your grandma or grandpa, and they would give me messages or show me dreams. And it's always very loving. There's nothing to be afraid of because it's all people that you know.
Hmm.
And my story is actually written on my website, psychicmuggsy.com, my beginning. But what happened to me is that I was awakened in the middle of the night. Somebody said my name, and I heard, go get on the internet. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. So I went and signed on to the internet, and there was an advertisement for live advice, which was psychic readings. And they said, call somebody. You got 5 free minutes, call somebody. Well, I ended up calling some lady that ended up yelling at me and telling me she was a psychic and she was in charge. And I got off that phone call and I was like, wow, that is not spiritual energy at all. And then my guide said, well, that's what people are listening to, sign up. And I had already gotten my master's degree and was teaching at the community college. And so I thought, well, what the heck? So I signed up. And I've had the pleasure of doing back-to-back readings for about 8 hours a day for probably a good 11 years.
Hmm.
And I've read so many people that I've become very quick at what I do. And the more knowledge that you gain, the more that you read, the more education you get, the more that your guides can talk to you. And I don't think we have just one because we have family and friends that also can talk to you. But the more educated you get, the more that they can tell you because you already have it in your subconscious mind about, say, economics or marketing or love relationships. And so then they're able to relate to you more so. But that's how I started, and being inundated with doing 8 to 10 readings or hours of readings every day for probably 6 days a week for years has really equipped me with the skills to read quickly. I know what I'm looking for, and I synthesize everything, and I'm able to give the information to the people that they are looking for, that they need.
When someone develops this ability quite young, um, you said 9. Was there any clues to the fact that you had this ability prior to that? I mean, as a
Oh,
small
yeah.
child, yeah.
Oh, yeah. My mom said I can remember things back to when I was like 3 months old, 6 months old. I would only let certain people hold me because when somebody holds you as a baby, their energy whacks you out. It's almost like nails on a chalkboard.
Mm.
And so only certain people with a certain frequency, I would let them hold me. Of course, I didn't know until I got much older what I was doing. I just knew that I didn't want that person holding me. And then being a kid, I mean, like 2 and 3 years old, seeing people do certain things like guilt trips or manipulation, it never resonated with me. I was always like, why are you doing that? You don't need to, you know?
Did it run in your family?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, on my mom's side of the family, there's a long line of clairvoyants,
Right.
long line. And on my dad's side of the family, they're mediums, and there's a long line of that too. So it's something that was understood, and I've had the luxury, I've really been blessed with a great family because I've never been put down or endangered. If anything, my parents knew I had the gift, and so we went camping every weekend for 13 years so my parents could shelter me and keep me away from people that might harm me. And they were my teachers, and they taught me nature and getting out, and you know what I mean? It's just been wonderful.
Oh, I think that's absolutely key. I think a lot of kids have got this ability, and it's just they grow out of it simply because it's not supported, it's not encouraged. I mean,
Right.
I've got three children, and I noticed that with all three of them, around the ages of between 2 and 4, they come out with the most incredible things, you know, and they're clearly tapped in and open, and they start to grow out. Now, I've never discouraged it, but even they just naturally grew out of it at around the ages of 4. And when I say the most incredible things, my eldest was, she would say things like, if she thought she was in trouble, I've never been here before, I don't understand. So, don't be mad at me. And just things about where she'd been before. And she was adamant that she'd never been here before. And my second eldest would say things like, oh, I'm so glad I chose you this time. At the age of 2. And they are completely different, and they certainly act as if it's in their personalities, as if one's never been here before, because everything's always brand new to her. And the one who's younger, it's all old hat. Been there, done that. She's got that whole very wise old, almost bored with it all attitude.
And we do, I know. And I remember being in my homeland, my heaven, if you will, before my soul incarnated in this life. I have really distinct memories. I know that when we choose to come down here, there's two lines. You have the long life line or you have the short life line. And the longest line is the short lives. Most people don't want to be down here for long periods of time. The only reason why people select the long life is because the longer you're down here and pay back your karma, then you don't have to come back down here for a longer period of time. And when you get ready to incarnate, you talk with your counselor or whoever's in charge. I don't know. I don't remember the title, but they do ask you, okay, this is what you want to learn under what circumstances. And they ask you, do you want your parents to be wealthy? Do you want your parents to be famous? Do you want your parents to be split up? Do you want a single mom? How exactly are you going to accomplish your goal under what challenges?
Mm-hmm.
And so I picked my parents because the one thing that I wanted the most was to be in a loving family. And when they asked me, well, don't you want money? I said, heck no, I don't want anything to do with it.
Now, I saw that you also work with the police on cold case files. How does that kind of come about?
Actually, I just started, I got in and talked to a detective and I started rattling off some details about a case. And then he referred me over to the Department of Justice, and I got in touch with a certain individual who was my detective, and I would give him information. And because it was my first case, what I didn't know is that the show, The Medium, is
Mm-hmm.
very accurate because when you're working on cold case files, it's not like you get the whole scenario all at once. The way that you get your information is they show you like this piece, then they show you that piece, and then they show you another piece. And so it's imperative that you have a good working relationship with your detective because they solve the case. All you do is give them little glimpses of what is being given to you that you give to them, and then they tie it together. We don't see absolutely everything. And I know that some people will criticize us because we don't always understand what we're getting. we just see certain things, and that's why I always tell my detectives, I'll give you the pieces and you know how it relates. And some psychics don't want to see the blood and guts. I don't. The detectives already know how somebody died. All I want to see is what happened before and then what happened afterwards, or where that person might have gone. And so I rely on my detective, and he trusts me and I trust him, and he knows that I'll only work with him. I don't want to work with a bunch of disbelieving cops, because if I have to first convince them plus get the information on top to it, it is so draining. I'm not going to do it. So it has to be hand in hand, and I think most psychics will agree with me that you have to work with a good, open-minded detective who's going to be looking at the facts and be able to put the whole big picture together. The psychic doesn't do it.
Was he handpicked to work with you? Because for the simple fact that he was someone who was open-minded, or did he have to be somewhat convinced to work with you?
I think both. You know, they were both really leery. I had two detectives that I worked with, and I'm not going to say their names because I don't have their permission, but I had proven myself by the vehicle of the car that of the victim was actually left in a big parking lot at a shopping mall, and I was able to pick the exact parking lot stall that the car was left in.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was little things, plus the person that I believe to be the victim, I picked out a house that he was staying at. Out of this whole tract of houses, I was able to pick the one house.
Right. So that got their
So
attention for sure.
exactly. So I'd done some little things prior to that that they knew that I was onto something. But like I say, I can't get the whole picture. I even got the guy's name, but I had gotten one letter out of place. So he knew I was onto it. But it's it's always up to the detective to pull the pieces together and solve the case. A psychic never does that.
Right. Understood.